Democrats did that, held the House for 40 years, right? From 1954 to 1994. And there wasn't a whole lot of drama about it. It was the process. And the Republicans figured out, okay, how to wrestle it back through the process. But this is cheating the process.
More than 50 members of the Texas House of Representatives fleeing to Chicago in protest of Republican efforts to redistrict the Lone Star State ahead of the midterm elections. And Democrats are having a field day with the proposed changes.
We've got to do things that perhaps in the past I would not have supported. This is an authoritarian move by the White House to try to make sure that they can rig the election.
If Republicans were confident on their policy agenda, they'd be eager to defend it with the people and to defend it at the ballot box next November, but they know they're in trouble. And so they're trying to rig the system to hold on to power next November.
Democracy itself, freedom itself are at stake here, and we cannot allow for an Orban-style one-party system takeover of our entire government. So we've got to do whatever we can to fight back.
All right, let's bring in Fox News contributor Mary Catherine Ham. Mary Catherine, great to see you. Democrats appear to be very bothered by this. What say you?
This is so embarrassing. Just go and do your jobs in the House that you were elected to. Look, this happens every now and then where Republicans basically do the playbook that Democrats have been running for a while, and then Democrats go, wait, you're not supposed to do that. Only we're supposed to do that. Now we're going to leave our elected state and evade the democratic process in order to thwart you using these tools that are at your disposal. Even the New York Times reported or admitted that Democrats have little to fight back with on the gerrymandering front because they have gerrymandered their states so extensively, Chicago being a great example, Illinois being a great example, which is where they fled, that they...
In the last 100 years, redistricting has explicitly favored Democrats in California. They did that in the 80s, and Illinois in the 1980s and the 2000s. So it's true what she's saying. They do this, and then when the same rules are applied to the Republicans, it's a threat to democracy. This is fascism. This is authoritarianism. It's interesting to hear the kind of rhetoric that flows from the Democrats when the Republicans decide that it's finally time to give them a taste of their own medicine.
Can't actually do anything to compete against this. So I would just say that this is once again a bit of a tantrum, and the people who they represent should require them to be in their state to do their jobs.
Yeah. Speaking of Illinois, the governor, J.B. Pritzker, never seizing an opportunity or not seizing an opportunity to grab the spotlight. He took to the microphone and said Republicans are cheating.
Mm-hmm. They are attempting to cheat. And, I think we all know Donald Trump is a cheater. When the cult leader and, would-be dictator of the United States tells Texas to midstream change the game when they know that they're going to lose in 2026, all bets are off. Everything's got to be on the table.
Mid-decade redistricting is something that happens regularly. In Democrat states, it's happened. And that has helped them to have a vice grip on the Democrat states. So to hear voices like Jamie Pritzker saying that Trump is a cheater, well, it is what we've heard for years. The Democrats accusing the Republicans of what they've been doing for decades.
There it is again. We've got to fight back, Governor Pritzker says.
Yeah, this is how they justify everything. And I actually think it does get undemocratic when you decide that you can justify anything you do because your opposition has been a special kind of dangerous. And this is what they've done with the Trump era from day one, right? This is what got you Russiagate, is that all of these intelligence officials and official officials and democratically elected officials were like, this guy is a special danger, and because he's a special danger, we can do special FISA warrants that violate a bunch of Americans' rights. That was a bad thing to do. That was the wrong thing to do. They lead themselves down these paths. And by the way, those paths aren't always great for American voters who decide, we don't like that you're violating all the norms that you allegedly value to do this.
Now, we've heard from Fox News. Now, let's hear MSNBC have a complete meltdown on how they continue to push the Democrat narrative as the official mouthpiece of the Democrat Party.
What Republicans in Texas are doing, and as a Republican, I'm offended by it because you don't obliterate the process for politics. You just don't. You play the rules that are in front of you and may the best team win, right? Okay, so we go through the redistricting process. We know what that is. We got to get our players in place to advance the maps that we want. All of that. Democrats did that, held the House for 40 years. Right? From 1954 to 1994. And there wasn't a whole lot of drama about it. It was the process. And the Republicans figured out, okay, how to wrestle it back through the process. But this is cheating the process. And so what Democrats are doing, in my view, they need to do more of, not just in Texas, and this is where I want to get to with you, but in other places around the country where you know they're coming. This doesn't stop. Republicans aren't stopping in Texas, sir. There is Ohio. There is Florida. There is Georgia. There are other places they can go and eke out enough votes to change the balance of power in the House from the 2-seat majority that they have or 3-seat majority they have to 15 or 20 seats.
Absolutely. You're 100% right. And like you and I are old school. It's you go out, knock on doors. Whoever has the best idea will win. These elections, you win them fair and square. Not this current crew here. They have a different game. And the game is, how do I turn out my people? How do I pick my voters? And how do I kick yours out? And
that's what the Democrats have done for 100 years. And now that they're getting the same treatment, they're going to the media and crying and having all these long speeches about democracy is on the siege and President Trump is a cheater. Look, cry me a river. You guys have been doing this for decades, and now that it's time for you guys to face the music and have a taste of your own medicine, you guys see how it feels. And now you're going out, letting the whole world know that what you've been doing for a long time hurts. Well, let me know what you think in the comment section about this story. The Democrats clearly are trying to pull out all kinds of shenanigans in order to avoid the votes in Texas, in order for the redistricting process to move forward. If Governor Abbott carries out the arrests that he's threatening to carry out, of course, we're going to have more mewling and weeping on MSNBC by Democrats. But this isn't the way politics is done. You face up to the process, you have your debates, and then you let things run as they should. Mid-decade redistricting is something that has always been done. It's not cheating. This is 2025. This is the middle of this decade. It is time for Texas to do their own redistricting because they chose to, and it is not cheating. Well, let me know what you think of all of this. There's a lot to cover about the reaction of the Democrats and also how the Republicans have grown some courage to begin to use some of these tools against the Democrat Party. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Leave a like and hit the bell icon to be notified when fresh content is posted. It does help us out a whole lot.